A while loop is executing its code block iterations by iterations as long as its condition is true. Unlike for loops, the number of iterations in the while loop may be unknown. Let's rewrite this while loop to print numbers between 0 and 5. In order to do this with a while loop, we need to create a variable to calculate the iteration count. And my variable will be counter, and I assign 0 to it. We need to increment this counter variable by 1 in each and every while loop iterations inside the code block. Counter, and the condition to printing out numbers between 0 and 5, counter must be less than 5. And the only thing we need to do is just print out the counter itself, and this is a while loop. To stop a while loop before it finishes, you need to use the break statement. Let's say I'd like to stop my while loop when counter equals 3. To do this, I need an if statement, counter equals 3, and the break statement, I will put an and sign here, and it's this easy. It breaks the entire while loop and jumps to the next code block, which is the print function. With a continue statement, you can stop the current iteration and continue with the next one. So I just changed the break statement to a continue one and run this code, and my program is in an infinite loop. So it does the same thing over and over, and there is no ending. And it is because of my continue statement. But to understand this better, and to prove this is really an infinite loop, I just print something out to the console and run this again. And you can see it prints out dots infinitely. All right, so what happens here? The if statement checks the counter variable, and when it is 3, it continues to the next iteration. But it means it goes back to the beginning of the while loop and doesn't reach the incrementation line, which does the incrementation. The if statement is always true, because my counter is still 3, because I didn't increment it, so it goes on and on infinitely. The mistake is that I don't increment my counter in the if statement's code block. I will correct this now. With the proper incrementation, it works correctly, so continue statement goes to the next iteration immediately when the counter is 3, but incrementation happens before. While loops can also have an optional else block, which is executed when the loop finishes. Here it is. When there is a break statement, which comes alive at a specific item, for example, counter equals 3, break. So when there is a break statement, the else code block won't run. And in this case, we break at when counter is 3, we break the entire while loop, and the else code block isn't executed. There can be a case when you need an infinite loop intentionally. And you can create an infinite loop if the condition is always true. For example, while true. And in this case, I can print hello to the console. So this is an infinite loop. It can be useful when you have something dynamic result inside the code block. For example, you'd like to connect to another computer program, so you are trying to connect until the connection is successful, and when the connection is built up successfully, You can use the break statement to stop and break the entire while loop.
That's all for now. I hope I will see you in the next lesson.